Tzu Chi volunteers in South Africa kick off their first winter relief distribution in Centurion, Gauteng. We see how an affinity with Tzu Chi after Cyclone Nargis transformed Burmese volunteer Luo Daming. Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Anita. Thank you for joining us. Now that winter has arrived in full force in South Africa, Tzu Chi volunteers from Gauteng province carried out their first large-scale winter relief distribution on July 11th in Centurion. Although this aid may not be considered much in the eyes of some, residents of Mooiplaas were extremely grateful for the timely aid. Here in South Africa, Tzu Chi's annual winter relief distribution is always planned carefully from the ground up, from zero to success.
我爱就是这句来吼，有只出去，这句来有只出去，这句来有只出去，都是从这个地方，所以我们这个地方的距离还是要有，还是要 space， 还是要够这样。
As the distribution is taking place in an open field without any tables or chairs, volunteers get down on their knees to map out the layout of the venue. The distribution aims to address the needs of impoverished residents from Mooiplaas. Next, 5 container trucks carrying aid supplies and rice from Taiwan arrive at the distribution venue.
I'm very happy with the Tzu Chi. Thank you very much, Tzu Chi. Thank you, Tzu Chi. We love you. We love you. We love you. Carry on to do the good thing for the people. Thank you, Tzu Chi. Thank you. I love you.
Each family received 2 10-kilo bags of rice, a pair of shoes, earmuffs, and a bar of laundry soap. Although the aid may not seem much to the privileged, for these residents, however, this aid is their saving grace.
There are about 12,000 families in Mooiplaas who come from neighboring countries and do not have resident status in South Africa. They live without water and electricity, in shacks made out of corrugated metal and scrap. We visited 3,000 households and selected 3,000 families who will receive Tzu Chi's aid.
Some volunteers stood at the exit to bid residents farewell, while others tried to recruit more members. Surprisingly, many immediately signed up to join the ranks of the volunteers. Transforming from receivers into givers, these residents are changing the community for the better, slowly but surely, one step at a time. Malaysia should be experiencing dry weather during this time of year. However, erratic climate has brought rainstorms to Kedah, damaging houses there. Tzu Chi volunteers immediately brought consolation cash to 22 affected families. Our roof was blown over here. It was very scary. Our blankets and things inside the closet have been soaked, as I could not take them out in time.
Malaysia should be experiencing dry weather with low rainfall, but erratic weather conditions have brought rainstorms that damaged houses in Kedah. Learning of the storm victims' plight, Tzu Chi volunteers were there to deliver aid. With the unpredictable weather, many storm victims hope to repair their damaged roofs before another rainstorm hits. In delivering the much-needed aid, Tzu Chi volunteers set up the consolation cash distribution venue while the village had notified the storm victims. The volunteers handed out consolation cash to 22 families affected by the storm.
Eid al-Fitr is coming, so I'm very touched and thankful that you have come to help the residents affected by the storm.
When the aid recipients learned that their consolation cash comes from donations, they took the bamboo coin banks home so they could also help other less fortunate people.
I will ask our villagers to put donations in the coin banks, and we'll also find a warehouse where we can do recycling. Saving is a good habit, especially if one starts early in age, so I encourage children to bring the coin banks home.
By delivering the needed aid in time on behalf of these Muslim residents, Tzu Chi volunteers have shown that love and care really do transcend religious divides.
Turning to the Philippines, a fire which broke out in Marikina City last month caused significant damage to homes in a residential area. As residents affected by the blaze were in need of supplies, Tzu Chi volunteers came to offer some assistance.
Entering the scene where the fire occurred, Tzu Chi volunteers can see that the roofs of these homes were reduced to ash. The fire occurred towards the end of last month in Marikina City of the Philippines. Thankfully, no one was hurt, but the terror of having lost everything is still very real in these residents' hearts.
We first thought that there was smoke coming from somewhere, and then in just a few minutes we saw the flames.
My grandson told me that the neighbor's home caught on fire. I didn't even think about the items in my home. All I wanted to do was take my grandson somewhere safe.
7 days after the fire was extinguished, Tzu Chi Foundation came with relief supplies for each family. The victims were given a 20-kilogram bag of rice and a bag of daily necessities.
We are very thankful with what Tzu Chi has given us, and it will benefit us greatly. This is a huge help financially, as we won't have to spend additional money on purchasing food.
Tzu Chi's aid came just in time and will temporarily relieve the victims of their problems.
Malaysia is celebrating Eid al-Fitr this Friday, which also signals the end of Ramadan. In addition to building prefab homes to help victims of the December floods who are still struggling to enjoy this important Muslim holiday, Tzu Chi volunteers brought aid, hope and laughter to 422 families in the form of a distribution.
Following last year's flooding, as it was Ramadan, Muslims in Kelantan had yet another reason to be anxious.
We're still living in tents, and now that it is Ramadan, life is even more difficult. During midday, the tents gets way too hot for us to stay in. I feel so sorry for my son.
Hazana's hope of one day leaving her tents was later actualized in a prefab home built by Tzu Chi.
Now in our new home, we can pass Ramadan and eat al-Fitr in comfort. That makes me so happy.
The framework of the prefabs was put together by Penang Tzu Chi volunteers before being sent to Kelantan to be assembled by Tzu Chi's casual work participants. The prefabs come complete with a space to rest during the day during Ramadan, and as if the homes were not enough, Tzu Chi volunteers also followed up with an aid distribution.
I'm very happy to have these items with which to pass Eid al-Fitr.
As the important festival of Eid al-Fitr nears, Tzu Chi volunteers continue to help Malaysia regardless of race and faith.
The Tzu Chi Foundation has concluded its disaster and medical relief in Nepal as the organization begins its mid to long-term projects. Some team members recently gathered in Hualien to report on the progress to Master Zheng Yan.
In the 2 months that Tzu Chi has been in Nepal helping quake survivors, volunteers have done much to help local residents' immediate needs. And now the relief efforts have shifted into mid and long-term goals. Among them is the formation of a Tzu Chi International Medical Association.
By providing what they need, we hope in the next few years to see the health of the residents of more remote areas improve.
Another goal is the rebuilding of damaged schools, temples, and medical facilities. The solution of a sturdy prefab unit is currently in progress in various quake-torn areas.
The frame is reinforced concrete and there is a foundation. The 10 steel poles are about 1 meter tall. The roof is also steel. The roof also has PU foam to help with insulation. The walls are made up of cement boards.
Continuing to plant the seeds of compassion, Tzu Chi volunteers have also begun training local volunteers in Tzu Chi's missions to further spread the foundation's ideals in the country.
诚知情谊，我们要跟他拉的长情与大爱呢，不是物质给多少，是这一份感情，我们的诚恳的这种感情，要铺。
The road to a full recovery is still a long ways away. However, Tzu Chi volunteers are determined to help the quake victims of Nepal continue on that path and thus will stay by their side for as long as needed.
Tzu Chi volunteer Luo Daming from Myanmar was a person who used to only look out for his own interests. However, after joining Tzu Chi in the aftermath of Cyclone Nargis, his life took an unexpected turn.
However small or big the task, Tzu Chi volunteer Luo Daming is always ready to lend a hand.
I wanted to continue volunteering on behalf of Tzu Chi after Cyclone Nargis because I was deeply moved by their warmth and empathy.
Besides lending his strength when needed, Luo can also perform sign language or a short skit on stage. As there are not many male volunteers in Myanmar, Luo often finds himself having to wear more than one hat. Of all the tasks he is involved in, his favorite is recycling.
Recycling starts with the individual. It helps us get into the habit of reducing waste and reusing products.
Always ready to step up to any task, Luo is viewed as a trustworthy member of his team. However, Luo was a different man in the past. Raised in a poor family, Luo took up a factory job in Japan when he was 19. He soon became a person who only looked out for his own interests and had little regard for other people's feelings. However, this all changed when Luo became involved with Tzu Chi following Cyclone Nargis.
Before, I always preferred working alone. I always felt that the work others did was never good enough. At Tzu Chi, I learned about team spirit and working in harmony. One can never accomplish something alone.
With a change in attitude, Luo's life has become brighter and more enjoyable as a result.
Chen Yishou is now pursuing a PhD at Harvard University in the United States. But 17 years ago, he nearly lost his life when a science experiment at school went horribly wrong, leaving the then 9-year-old Yishou with burns to over 9% of his body. The young man now wants to share his story with victims of the Bali water park explosion and remind them not to give up.
"17 years ago, a knocked-over alcohol lamp during a science experiment burned 6 elementary school students in Taiwan. 9-year-old Chen Yishou, who suffered burns to 9% of his body, was among the worst injured. To recover, he underwent 1 debridement and 3 skin graftings. He also nearly lost his life due to an infection.
He would only complain about how itchy it was. He never complained about the pain and just endured it courageously. I really admire him for that."
The accident did not leave a scar in the young boy's heart, however. Instead, he was more determined than ever.
I thought he would no longer want to do any more experiments, but he was still passionate about science, so I could only respect his wishes.
The numerous awards in Chen's home are proof of Yishou's scientific and mathematic prowess. Though scarred physically, he was surrounded by love on his road to recovery.
We did play these games to help him stretch the skin around his neck. Only by putting ourselves in his shoes could we understand what he was going through and encourage him in return.
His father wise, his mother nurturing, and his 2 elder brothers supportive, Yishou was able to recover quickly and cope with what had happened.
My students would encourage me with Jingsi aphorisms, which helped me come to realize that I shouldn't be drowning in self-pity.
I truly admire my son's determination. If I were in his place, I don't believe I could handle it like he did.
Now, Yishou is working on a PhD in Harvard in the United States. He says he wants to encourage the victims of the Bali water park explosion with his story and remind them that nothing is impossible with confidence, courage, and determination.
In the United States, the Tzu Chi Chicago chapter held a scholarship awards ceremony in which selected students received coin banks and Jingsi aphorism volumes in addition to scholarships. Volunteers hope that as these needy students pursue an education, they will walk the correct path and also help other less fortunate people.
To help these students from impoverished families continue with their schooling, Tzu Chi volunteers gave out scholarships along with coin banks and volumes of Jingsi aphorisms.
I think it's just made me more passionate about what I want to do, which is similar to what you guys want to do with community outreach and education and things. And I think it's just made me realize that those things are, attainable.
One person can do so much, and just like the good energy and, a bunch of determined people working together to try and bring about a change in the world.
In this dignified ceremony, the scholarship recipients and their parents learned that the scholarship funds comes from the donations and good wishes of many people.
It's all about helping others. And for such a young person to have that understanding, it's still taken me a lifetime to figure that out.
Tzu Chi volunteers have also planted the seeds of love in the hearts of these young minds so they can pay the love forward when the opportunity arises.
For the third consecutive year, students from Tzu Chi College of Technology and Songshan High School of Agriculture and Industry have put together a 3-day camp for children from remote areas. This year's camp is centered on helping underprivileged students learn computer skills.
In Wanrong, Hualien, a 3-day summer camp for children of remote areas begins for the day. In total, over 30 students and teachers from Tzu Chi College of Technology's Department of Information Technology and Business Management and Songshan High School of Agriculture and Industry are taking part in hosting this camp.
In taking care of those younger students, the students can also reflect on their own behavior in school, on their interactions with teachers, or even parents. It's all something they can think about.
From preparing the activities to carrying them out, the older students have received much in return by working as camp counselors.
We have worked hard in preparing different activities for the students to enjoy. It makes us very happy to see the results of our hard work.
On the first day, the 63 campers first made their own gelatin snack and also learned about photography editing using a computer.
I'm using the computer to edit a picture for my family. I want to give it to my parents as a souvenir.
In recognition of the students' efforts to help the less fortunate, Books.com.tw, an electronic commerce company, gifted over 600 books to Tzu Chi College of Technology.
Despite Taiwan's low food self-sufficiency rate, it continues to see a large surplus in rice production. Looking to balance out supply and demand, the government has not only begun to limit its grain purchases, but has also raised the threshold for eligible rice. In addition, the government is also encouraging farmers to grow higher quality rice that can find markets overseas. Let's take a closer look.
The grain depot here in Taichung's Wufeng District Farmers Association is filled with government-purchased rice. However, standards are now higher, and except for whole grains or high-quality milled rice, all rice must undergo testing and quality checks, and no ratooned or volunteer rice is accepted.
As of last year, we have been only accepting high-quality milled rice. Farmers also need to leave a sample of their rice, so we can do pesticide residue monitoring. We hope this will encourage farmers to use pesticides in a safe way.
Taiwan's Agriculture and Food Agency has slowly reduced the amount of grain purchases as a step towards refining the country's agricultural practices. Even the Wufeng District Farmers Association Grain Depot has been transformed into something resembling a supermarket and now offers carbon footprint labels, a first for rice in Taiwan.
It is environmentally sound farming, which also offers consumers healthy and safe rice. This will also help us compete internationally.
Unlike traditional rice fields, in this field one finds two strands of rice, Tainan number 16 and what is known as Taiwan's best rice, Taigeng number 16.
Taigeng number 16 has a great taste and can be stored for long periods. We're working hard to preserve Taiwan's unique rice strains and help farmers turn a profit at the same time. But when this rice is then sold back to the government, it becomes a loss for the government. We have those for export, also those packaged by us. 好米时代 is our own brand.
As government granaries fill to bursting, the government is looking for ways to reduce supply and increase price. In Jiayi's Yizhu Township, one grain trader is working with farmers, helping them grow high-quality rice that can be later sold overseas.
For
farmers, the most important thing is the chance to increase profits. We also hope to make Taiwan an island famous worldwide for its rice. So we're using more unique strains of rice and making sure they are grown in safe pesticide-free ways.
Wong has even opened up a testing lab so to help farmers change their over-reliance on pesticide and grow rice that can eventually be marketed as their own brand.
I can't let it go regardless of the trials involved. Some of farmers are really old, 70 years old, and still working the fields.
Taiwan's rice is now sold in 5 countries. Looking to change the rice industry in Taiwan, the government is trying to change farmers and the public's idea and tastes regarding rice, while also helping to promote Taiwan's rice on the world stage.
For 19 years, the Good Shepherd Social Welfare Services has been caring for youth from disadvantaged families in Taipei's Wanhua district. As many of these youth dream of becoming a musician, with the support of corporations, the charity finally put together its West Good Shepherd Band.
The West Good Shepherd Band was formed 6 months ago, and all of its members come from disadvantaged families. The drummer is a 10th grader. Due to the limited income of a single-parent family, she could not pursue her passion for music in the past.
My dad is a taxi driver, and he's not affiliated with any major cab companies, so he can better care for me and my younger sister. Music lessons will cost a fortune if you want to learn for a long period.
Now, thanks to corporate sponsorships and the hard work of social workers of the Good Shepherd Social Welfare Services, these girls have a chance to study music and have gained confidence through performing.
They seldom have the chance to perform on stage and in front of so many people. To closely interact with a celebrity is also something very far-fetched for them.
To study music is not cheap. You have to buy an instrument and enroll in classes. It's really not that easy. I hope everyone can continue to lend their strength to support these children.
To show his support for the cause, singer Anthony Neely also made a personal appearance. Hopefully, more people will lend their support to keep this meaningful program going.
We go to Indonesia at the end of today's program and join 400 elementary and high school students at a camp hosted at the Tengkareng DaAi School. There, students learned about moral and self-cultivation. Thank you for watching DaAi Headlines. Goodbye.